You're not too late. You're here. You're right on time. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not missing the map. You're just walking a path that unfolds with each step. And clarity will come, and then it'll go, and then it'll come back again. And you don't have to be certain to be courageous. I love this quote. My friend Greg Ford, he's a pastor at one church. I don't remember if this was his original quote or not, but one time he said, courage precedes confidence. You get the confidence from first being courageous. You don't have to be certain to be brave, to be courageous. Do you ever get the feeling that everyone is so sure about what they believe, who they are, where they want to go, and you're not even sure that you're heading in the right direction? I've been chasing clarity and certainty, and it's really not gotten me very far. If anything, it's trapped me a lot more than it's helped me. And in this episode, I want to talk about why we wait, what we fear, and how moving before we're ready is really the most honest thing we can do. The show is called Clearly Complicated, and I will explore paradox, the tension of it's not either or, it's both and the freedom to live inside that gray area. We crave clarity as people, and I think it's because we feel it gives us a sense of control. It kind of soothes anxiety. It promises the right answer. But I also think it's because in our culture, we can be trained to think that if we feel confused or have doubts, it means we've failed. But in my mind, clarity isn't an arrival. It's a moment. It comes and goes. Like the aha moment we get, and then it kind of passes quickly. Or like how in the past you've made a choice that you thought was clear, but it ended up being the wrong choice. So maybe if we reframe how we approach clarity, that clarity itself isn't the goal, but maybe honest movement or even just curiosity is the goal. And sometimes when we wait for clarity, it can be a form of hiding. It can be a disguise to keep us from admitting that we're afraid or we want to procrastinate, because certainty feels kind of like a comforting blanket, but it's often an illusion. And in our mind, certainty says if you're not 100% sure, then don't act. But rarely in life is anything ever 100%. And there's been so many moments where I thought I was certain on something and it ended up like blowing up in my face. And there's been other moments in my life where I've kind of stumbled through something and it ended up working out better than if I had planned it all myself. This can show up in every single category you can possibly imagine. It can show up in relationships when you're waiting until you're 100% sure that person's the one, or you're waiting for your sign, it's time to leave, or in your career when maybe you're wanting to launch a business, but you're waiting for that perfect business idea before you take that next step. It can be in faith too, where you feel like ashamed if you have a moment of doubt, or that God will only show up to you in clarity. Or if you're trying to be creative in something, you feel like you have to have the whole picture before you can even start the first sentence. And that's kind of how I feel about even launching this podcast. I just have felt this draw. Like I feel like this is something that I feel pulled to do, whether this is, what the end game is or what. But it's one of those things I'm not sure what it's going to look like in 3 months, 6 months, a year. But I knew it was something that I had to do. I had to start. A lot of times we want clarity to give us the GPS instructions, right? Like, I don't know. Anywhere I drive in my car I still plug in to Apple Maps the address, even if I've been there a bunch. Well, I mean, it does show you like the traffic, which is super nice, but we want life to be like that. Give us the GPS instructions. But really what life gives us is breadcrumbs. And what's cool is that, like, to get to that next step, that breadcrumb gives us that picture of where we can go. It's not when we have clarity that we take that move. It's actually when we have movement towards that breadcrumb, clarity comes. Movement doesn't require clarity. Movement brings clarity. And I want to invite you to kind of reflect on that idea as well. Where do you already have breadcrumbs in your life where you already know something, even if it's small? towards that next step that you've maybe been towing the chicken line on, but then finding 100 reasons to step back and reevaluate. I think there's a few ways to move through these uncertain moments or where we're lacking clarity and still have peace with it. A lot of what holds you back is when you finally get up to the chicken line and then you self-sabotage. The anxiety bubbles up, you turn the other way, you run as fast as you can. But I've found when I look in the eye of the thing that's so scary on the other side of that line, I realize how to navigate around it, or how it's maybe silly or not realistic. I like to find the lowest stakes steps that I can do first. It's like anything that can create forward motion. You don't have to go all in, but you can take that next step. My friend, Lauren Hanson, she's going to be on this. This is your official invite, Lauren. But she was going to start a business. She knew what she wanted to do in the business, but she didn't have the full game plan yet. But one thing she did do was change her email sign-off signature to her business name and a little line of what the business was. She wasn't even emailing people about the business, but people saw her email signature and started contacting her about using her business. And she got, I think, a couple clients. I know she definitely got a client from it, but maybe a couple clients from that. And it was literally just as simple as changing your email signature. It doesn't have to be huge, you know? It doesn't have to be change your whole life, 100% all or nothing. It's like, if I want to reach my goals, I have to change everything I'm doing all at once, and then I'll finally reach that goal. No, it's always the small steps, the consistencies, the tediousness of those little moments that really make the biggest difference. And then sometimes we have to be okay to live it out, not force the answer to the question before it's time. It'll reveal itself. Like I said earlier, clarity comes through forward movement, through any movement, even moving backwards. Moving creates that momentum, and it's an unfolding of clarity. And the more steps you take, the more you can be informed. It's never like a spiral. We've all seen this like diagram of this spiral. It seems like a flat circle going around the same mountain, but when you flip it over, it's a spiral moving upwards. You're going around the mountain maybe a few times, but you're getting different perspectives. And then eventually you look around and you realize you're at the peak. And that goes along with my next point, is just trust that clarity can grow as you go. Okay, it kind of sounds cheesy, but it's good. Cheesy stuff is usually cheesy because it's true. Clarity can grow as you move, as you go. And so I want to encourage you to have those both and moments. A lot of life is both and. It's that tension. So the thought of, I can move and be unsure. I can hold faith while sometimes feeling doubt about certain things. I can take action, but still being open to change and evolving that as I move forward. I don't know if you're one to journal or not. I don't do it as often as I honestly would like, because it feels like homework, if I'm being honest. But not to add another checklist to your plate, but even if you're out on a run and you like to self-reflect, that's how I end up reflecting. I'll be running around and just processing my day. Or if you're driving, or if you do journal, just thinking through, like, where am I stuck waiting for clarity? What would I do? What would my next step be if I didn't need to be 100% certain? Am I hiding behind the lie of, I need to be prepared, or I need to be perfect before I can do something? Being honest with yourself. What do I already know deep down, even if it's just one small thing, that breadcrumb that I can grab? Because you know what? Behind that breadcrumb is another breadcrumb. A lot of us think we're like too late. Missed it. We're too late. Everyone's already ahead. Everyone's doing their thing. Like, you look on social media, it's beautiful. We all know. No, it's not a secret that that's a highlight reel. It's not a secret that that's polished or even a finished product. You're not too late. You're here. You're right on time. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not missing the map. You're just walking a path that unfolds with each step. And clarity will come, and then it'll go, and then it'll come back again. And you don't have to be certain to be courageous. I I love this quote. My friend Greg Ford, he's a pastor at one church. I don't remember if this was his original quote or not, but one time he said, courage precedes confidence. You get the confidence from first being courageous. You don't have to be certain to be brave, to be courageous. So that's what Clearly Complicated is here for. We hold space for the messy middle, the both and, those tension moments, and all of the above. I'm going to have some episodes like this where I'm just myself talking through a topic where we're deep diving in a complicated, complex idea and simplifying it, or even talking through something that seems really simple at first glance, but the more you dig in, the deeper you realize that thing goes. I'm also going to have on guests, experts, friends, both and people coming in who know their stuff and can teach us about what's behind the curtain of all of it and help make sense of it all so we can utilize it in our own life. And if you're like me and you're just like nerding out about random topics, we're going to be doing tons of that too. So join along. If you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can find me at Clearly Complicated, and subscribe, like, share this video with someone who maybe you've had a conversation with similar to this one, and you're both trying to navigate that messy middle, that tension moment. But I'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your week. I'm Lauren Rarick, by the way. Bye.